Welcome everyone to Wisdom and Wealth, the channel dedicated to exploring timeless wisdom for a richer life. We're diving deep into a topic that can be a bit puzzling, especially for those of us navigating the complexities of life after 40, the Buddhist concepts of Anattā, no self, and Kamma, karma. Now, stick with us, because understanding these ideas can be truly transformative. We will be walking through these concepts for the older generation to find peace and be able to find enlightenment, which comes with age. And before we begin, if you find value in these discussions, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It helps us bring more enlightening content to you. At the heart of Buddhist philosophy are these two seemingly contradictory principles. The Buddha taught us that there is no eternal, unchanging self, yet also emphasized the universal law of Kamma, where our actions have consequences. Many people find this confusing, because if there's no permanent I, who's responsible for our actions? Who receives the results of Kamma? It can seem like a paradox. If there is no self, who has ownership of these Kamma, how can one individual have their own Kamma that is unique only to them? How can any one person be held responsible? Does the idea of no self negate moral responsibility? Does it lead to a pessimistic view of life, as if nothing really matters? Or is it possible that this teaching actually opens the door to a more profound understanding of responsibility, one that's more liberating than we ever imagined? We'll be exploring these questions today, drawing on ancient scriptures and thoughtful reflection. By looking at the true meaning of Buddhism, we can look at the Buddhist path to true peace and understanding. Here at Wisdom and Wealth, we think that with an open mind, we can uncover clarity within the Buddha's teachings. What initially appears contradictory can actually dissolve, revealing a remarkable consistency in the Buddha's wisdom. From this understanding, a new perspective on existence and accountability can emerge. It might challenge your current way of thinking, but ultimately, it offers not confusion, but true clarity, a wisdom that brings freedom and enduring peace. If you're starting to find this discussion engaging, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more content like this. To really grasp the connection between no self and Kamma, we need to understand what the concept of self truly means. In ancient Indian philosophies before the Buddha's time, the word Anattā, in Pali, or Atman, in Sanskrit, referred to an eternal, unchanging soul. It was thought to be an independent, indestructible essence that was the true core of each person. This Anattā was thought to be the ultimate controller, the permanent I behind every experience. But it was precisely this idea that the Buddha rejected. The Buddha's teachings show the path to inner peace. Translating Anattā simply as self or ego can be misleading. In everyday conversation, self might just mean our shifting sense of identity. But the Anattā that the Buddha questioned was more than just our ordinary sense of self. It was the philosophical assertion of a fixed, permanent essence with absolute control. The older generation can be wiser by seeing the world for what it is, and not what they want it to be. What then is Anattā? It's not a rejection of existence itself, nor does it imply a void. Instead, it points to a deeper truth. Within the five aggregates, form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness, there's no permanent, unchanging self that can truly be owned or commanded. The five aggregates, in order, are form, physical body, feeling, sensations, perception, how we interpret the world, mental formation, thoughts/emotions/volitions, and consciousness, awareness of the world around us. In the Anattā Sutta, the Buddha presented a simple test. If any of these aggregates were truly self, we should be able to control them and say, let it be this way. Let it not be this way. Yet, we can't. We are guided to think wisely, this is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. This test of control shows the illusion of a fixed self. This is what we should be striving for to find peace and relaxation, which will help us later in life. This also explains why the Buddha was silent when Vakagata directly asked whether a self exists. It was not avoidance. Rather, it was a skillful response to avoid falling into either extreme: eternalism, the belief in an everlasting soul, or annihilationism, the belief that nothing remains after death. The true issue isn't whether such an entity exists, but our clinging to the very notion, which fuels suffering. Consider the flame of a candle. The flame is not a fixed object. It is a process, constantly shifting and changing. When that flame lights another candle, the new flame isn't identical to the first. Still, there's continuity, like flame essence passing over, but only a causal flow. In the same way, what we call self is a stream of mental and physical processes, unfolding continuously without any unchanging core. In daily life, we must still use language and convention. We say, I, you, my family, because these terms are necessary for communication and ordinary matters. The older generation can better their lives by seeing this true world for what it is and not what it seems to be. The Buddha called these designations in the world. But at a deeper, ultimate level, insight shows that no solid, permanent I can be found. Both truths have their place. The conventional truth helps us function, while the ultimate truth frees us from clinging. Even the word Anattā is sometimes used conventionally, as in the Dhammapada verse, Anattā hayatano natho, oneself is truly one's own refuge. This doesn't affirm a permanent soul, but points to responsibility and self-reliance in practice. It is a reminder of effort and accountability, not a metaphysical claim. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Buddhist philosophy, please give this video a like and subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth for more thought-provoking content. With the understanding that no fixed self exists, it's natural to wonder how Kamma, or intentional action, operates. The Buddha's definition is precise and profound. Intention, I tell you, is Kamma. Kamma is not just an external act. It's the volitional force, the underlying intention that drives the act. This intention works through three channels: the body, physical action, speech, verbal expression, and mind, thoughts and mental states. Every thought, word, and deed carries intention, and it's this intention that determines the Kamma created. Consider giving money to a beggar. One person gives with genuine compassion, only wanting the beggar's well-being. This compassionate intention leaves a wholesome imprint on the mind stream, shaping its future tendencies. This is wholesome Kamma. Another gives, but with a desire for praise or a sense of superiority. The outward action is the same, but the mixed intention creates a wholesome imprint stained with subtle impurities. A third person refuses to give, because of disdain or judgment. This unwholesome intention leaves an unwholesome imprint, fostering tendencies that will show later as unwholesome Kamma. The older generation should show only true intentions and strive to find true peace and harmony. In the Pali scriptures, wholesome intentional acts are called white Kamma, Sita Kamma, while unwholesome acts are called dark Kamma, Kaha Kamma. The critical factor isn't the act's external appearance, but the inner intention that creates these specific imprints. So, if there's no eternal soul, how does Kamma operate and accumulate? The scriptures don't describe a physical container or storage unit. Instead, Kamma functions as a dynamic force within the mind stream's continuous flow itself. Imagine the mind stream as a flowing river. Every intentional act, thought, word, or deed, is like adding a drop of dye into that river. A wholesome intention adds a clear, pure drop. An unwholesome one adds a murky drop. These drops don't vanish. They subtly alter the river's character. Over time, repeated drops shape its flow, creating tendencies or currents within it. Just as a riverbed is gradually shaped by the water, our mind stream is shaped by the Kamma we create. These tendencies are karmic potentials. They're not stored in a place, but become inherent dispositions within the ongoing flow of consciousness. They influence our future perceptions, inclinations, and the very conditions we encounter. Like a seed, these potentials lie dormant, not in a container, but as a latent force within the mind stream, awaiting the right conditions to sprout and manifest as karmic results. This ceaseless chain of cause and effect carries Kamma forward, ensuring continuity without needing a permanent self to hold it. To further conceptualize this continuity, between moments of consciousness and across lifetimes, later Theravada Abhidhamma traditions introduce the concept of Bhavagasoda, the life continuum mind. This model describes an underlying current of consciousness that carries karmic potentials and bridges gaps in conscious experience. It's important to understand that this is a later framework, not an explicit teaching of the early suttas. It is one way of describing this continuous underlying flow. If you found these insights helpful, please remember to like this video and subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth for more discussions on wisdom and well-being. The idea that no self implies no responsibility is a misunderstanding. The Buddha affirmed moral responsibility, declaring, "Beings are owners of their Kamma, heirs of their Kamma." This statement, made at the conventional level of truth, emphasizes the weight of our actions, not the existence of an eternal soul. The older generation should be finding ways to release stress and to find true peace. The Buddha showed this in his advice to his son Rahula. Intentions should be examined before, during, and after each action. If a wrong action is found, it should be admitted and corrected. This is a model of ethical practice that requires no belief in a permanent self, Kamma, rebirth, and free will. Having explored the nature of no self and Kamma, we now turn to how these truths shape individual lives. Here we examine the interplay of past influences, present choices, and the unique flow of personal responsibility. Our present circumstances, our birth body, natural capacities, family background, and social environment, are all conditioned by past Kamma. This is old Kamma, the karmic legacy that sets the stage for our current existence. He explained that even our sense faculties, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, are the results of past volitional actions. Born with good health is fortunate karmic inheritance, while chronic illness is difficult. The older generation should see the path to freedom that the Buddha teaches. This doesn't mean our lives are predetermined with no room for choice. Old Kamma shapes our starting point, but at every moment we can choose how to respond. This is new Kamma, the intentional actions we create here and now. Free will, in the Buddhist sense, isn't an absolute will independent of causes. Rather, it's the ability to be mindful and to direct our intentions and actions within the framework of existing conditions. We inherit the results of old Kamma, but we are the active creators of new Kamma. For instance, someone born with a natural gift for music, old Kamma, may neglect it out of laziness, creating unwholesome new Kamma, or cultivate it diligently, bringing joy to themselves and others, creating wholesome new Kamma. The older generation can cultivate more peace and harmony in their lives by practicing Buddhism. It's equally important to see that not all experiences are caused by past Kamma. The Buddha rejected the idea of strict karmic determinism, pointing out that suffering and feelings can also arise from other conditions. Imbalances in the body, seasonal changes, accidents, or simple carelessness. This frees us from the error of blaming everything on Kamma, and instead encourages us to recognize both our present responsibility and our ongoing potential for change. Moreover, Kamma is complex. An unwholesome act can sometimes lead to outcomes, and a wholesome act may sometimes bring difficulty due to the countless causes and conditions at play across lives. The Buddha warned against simplistic explanations. A question follows. If there's no fixed self, how does one person's Kamma remain separate from another's? Why doesn't my Kamma mix with yours? The Buddha explained that a being exists wherever craving and clinging are bound up with the five aggregates. This chain of dependent origination, craving, clinging, and becoming, sustains the continuity we call I. This causal link keeps each stream distinct. Picture drawing a line on paper. The mark appears on your paper, not on someone else's, because there's a direct causal connection between your action and that specific surface. In the same way, the Kamma you create will ripen within your stream of consciousness, not in another's. The strength of this causal link prevents mixing of Kamma between individuals. This understanding brings us to rebirth. Rebirth isn't the transfer of a fixed soul from one body to another. It's the continuity of the mind stream and its karmic energy. Imagine one torch lighting another. The flame on the new torch isn't identical to the first, yet it arises from it. In the same way, at the death of the body, the stream of karmic energy, the impressions of past volition carried within the mind stream, finds new conditions, a new set of aggregates, form, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness, through which it continues. Rebirth is the unfolding of causal continuity, not the passage of a permanent entity. If you've gained valuable insights from this discussion, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth for more content that enriches your life. Our exploration of Anattā and Kamma leads us to the purpose of the Buddha's teaching. The goal isn't to accumulate wholesome Kamma to have a better rebirth. Such actions may bring fortunate conditions, but the most blissful realms remain within Sasra. The endless cycle of birth, aging, and death. Picture a cage. Unwholesome Kamma may trap us in an iron cage of suffering and hardship. Wholesome Kamma may raise us into a golden cage filled with comfort, joy, and longevity. Still, it's a cage. The true aim isn't a better cage, but complete freedom, to transcend all confinement and break free from the entire cycle of rebirth. Human existence is precious. It offers a balance between extremes, the intense suffering of lower realms, and the pleasure of heavenly realms. Both extremes obstruct practice, one through constant pain and distraction, the other through complacency and lack of urgency. The older generation can use their life experiences to achieve enlightenment. The human state provides the ideal conditions for awakening. The Buddha didn't teach us to stop acting, for intentional action can't be avoided. Instead, he revealed a path of skillful action that leads to the very ending of Kamma. This is the Noble Eightfold Path: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. The path is described as Kamma that is neither dark nor bright, bringing neither dark nor bright result, leading to the ending of Kamma. The roots of wholesome Kamma aren't good intentions, which may still be tainted by attachment. They're the absence of greed, non-attachment, the absence of hatred, loving kindness, and the absence of delusion, wisdom, the three wholesome roots. The Eightfold Path cultivates these roots. It's the training that uses wisdom to transform the forces that create Kamma, extinguishing the fires of craving, aversion, and ignorance. It's the practice of drying up the stream of intentions that perpetuates suffering. When these three fires are fully extinguished, the illusion of a fixed self dissolves. At that moment, no new intentions arise to generate Kamma, and no further rebirth follows. This is nirvana. It isn't annihilation, but liberation, the freedom from suffering, attachment, and conditioned limits. It's awakening itself, the realization of unconditioned reality. It's the state of pure action without an actor, where the division between subject and object, self and other, disappears into seamless clarity. Picture a mirror covered with dust. Our mind stream, obscured by greed, hatred, delusion, and the illusion of self, is like that mirror. When the dust is wiped away, the mirror doesn't vanish. It shines with natural clarity, reflecting reality just as it is. Nirvana is this state of clarity, when the mind is free from distortion and reveals the unconditioned truth that has always been present. Understanding Anattā and Kamma doesn't reduce responsibility. It deepens it immeasurably. We realize that every thought, word, and deed leaves a lasting impression on the stream of existence. As the Buddha taught in the 5 remembrances, I am the owner of my actions, heir to my actions, born of my actions, related through my actions, and have my actions as my refuge. Whatever I do, for good or for evil, to that will I fall heir. This reminds us that what we do, say, and think forms the fabric of who we are, moment by moment, and the legacy we carry forward. May this wisdom inspire a life of mindfulness, compassion, and insight, not for our liberation, but for the well-being of all beings. The older generation can leave a long-lasting legacy by being compassionate and mindful. This isn't for debate, but an invitation to contemplation and practice, so that each of us may discover the deepest truth within. Thank you for joining us on Wisdom and Wealth today. Before you go, if you found this exploration insightful, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more wisdom-filled content.